Fred the Show. Free radio every day. Freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Cost you nothing to listen, cost you nothing to call. Boy, it worked out perfectly. I just hit those musical posts just like I knew what I was doing, didn't I? No practice at all, man. God, I'm a natural. I ought to do this for a living. 267-1023, the number 1-888-779-TALK, long distance toll free. Nobody here named Fred, just the name of the show. It is Friday. The rain is beginning to sneak in on little cat feet. And little cat feet will come in and sit on silent haunches and then move on after it licks itself. That's a slight bastardization of the Robert Frost poem. All right. North Georgia. We do not, admittedly, we do not give North Georgia enough love. Our signal reaches down there very well. I have a lot of listeners down there. We have a lot of listeners up north. Our signal goes up and down North and South 75, up in Bradley County and Cleveland. We used to ignore them completely because, you know, we didn't get any credit for them. At least we got credit for the people in North Georgia. But that's all changed, and we love the people in Bradley County now. We love Cleveland. But we still need to show more love to North Georgia. Walker County in particular has been very newsworthy of late. Heck, I guess it's been newsworthy since the day it was founded, as far as I know. Always has been. We have a guest today and one on Monday. We're going to be talking North Georgia politics. Now, we're not going to take up the whole show, but this is important stuff. Tuesday, there is an election down in North Georgia, and there's going to be on the ballot a non-binding referendum. We'll get to that in just a second. And it has to do with the sole commissioner form of government. Jill Weiss is in here with us. And Jill, I guess, who do you represent today other than Jill?
You know, I represent Jill, a concerned citizen and other concerned citizens. Now, first I want to thank you for having me on here to be able to get this information out.
It's my pleasure. I'm sorry I kind of was late getting in here.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Well, you know, I am not a Walker County citizen. I want to make this straight out front. I am a Walker County taxpayer. My partner and I own 65 acres in Walker County, and we pay a lot of property taxes. I want to be a Walker County citizen, and we've had plans to build a house in Walker County on our land and to move there and become residents. And I look forward to that because I have a very long history in Walker County with my growing up there and being a resident when I was younger, and then going back to my grandfather back in the early 1900s. So.
This is an unusual time. For those who do not know, who have never heard this before, the sole commissioner form of government, a county with one person who calls the shots. It does not exist anywhere else in this great country of ours from sea to shining sea except for one state, Georgia.
That's right.
And I said yesterday, somewhere between 7 and 9 counties, well, guess what? It's 8. Yeah. 8 counties in Georgia still have one commissioner who calls the shots. Now, Carroll County, where I graduated high school and college, was one such county for a long time. The guy's name was Horry B. Duncan. I will not make any fun of his name, but and I don't know a single adult voter who liked the man, who trusted the man, but he always got reelected. Horry B. Duncan. And when I was in high school, as a matter of fact, our civics teacher, government teacher, used to just abhor this thing. I didn't really understand exactly what that meant, but now I see how rare it is.
It is.
And she just said it's just too much power. And the county is the constitutionally recognized division of land and power and democracy more than anything else, the county.
It is. And, you know, until you really look and think about a sole commissioner, you know, a sole commissioner government, it's a county commission, as you said, with only one seat. The sole commissioner typically holds all legislative and executive powers in the county. They are the chief executive and legislator rolled into one, and being that, they can propose and pass laws, hire and fire county employees, raise and lower taxes, reject or approve budgets of other elected officials, accept or veto all purchases by county departments, and award or deny contracts to whoever they please. Arguably, they're the most powerful politician in the state.
And Commissioner Beebe High School is running for re-election, and she's doing it this time. I think this one did take some people by surprise as an independent.
Yes.
I guess, and you tell me if you feel otherwise, I think the front runner for the Republican primary will be my guest Monday at 10, and that is Sean Whitfield, his brother. And Beebe had been a part of the two-party system for a long time, and she stepped away from it. I'm not even sure who's running on the Democratic side, to be frank.
There's not anyone.
I didn't think there was.
No.
So really, the winner of the primary will go up against her as an independent. And Beebe's been in here more than a couple of times. We've talked about the controversy of the one-person form of government, but then we've also talked about the suits against the county over land misuse, over the wrecking of streams and whatever you want to call them, the wetlands and all kinds of environmental, I wouldn't say just degradations necessarily, but things that would lead to it. And it seemed to be fairly reckless, and it was as though la-di-da, we know we can get away with it. And then lo and behold, they didn't. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, of course, the whole hospital thing.
Oh, what a mess.
And now the county is in tremendous debt.
It's over $80 million.
This is a tiny Georgia county.
We have a little over 68,000 residents, according to 2015 census estimates.
Do the math on that right quick. Has anybody got a calculator?
I don't.
$80 million.
And, the 2015 audited financial statement, it shows $53 million in debt. After that financial statement came out in October, the county took out a $15.3 million bond issue that's going to be paid back over 20 years. The taxpayers are going to have to pay this back. And they also owe Hutchison anywhere from $8.6 million up to over 10 because
Hutchison or Erlanger?
Well, Erlanger, I guess is what Hutchison would owe Erlanger, and Walker County has agreed to pay the hospital authority that, I think.
Nutshell catch up.
Oh, what a
Hutchison, my youngest son, just celebrated his 26th birthday on Wednesday. Was born down there. Great hospital. We had a fantastic experience down there, but it sort of started falling off and falling into not disrepair, but not disrepute. It just kind of started turning into a ghost town. Erlanger set up an agreement where they would come in and they were going to bring more doctors down, which would bring confidence and bring patients in. And there are folks in Walker County and Hutchison who said never happened. It was clearly a plan from the beginning.
Yeah.
They were agent provocateurs. They just wanted to put it out of business. Erlanger said, pay us now the money you owe us. We said, we ain't got it. So the county said, by God, we're not going to do without a hospital. And they stepped in and did the right thing, by saying we're going to save our hospital, but now that's just more debt.
One person made the decision. That's just one of the arguments for a board of commissioners. And, I don't have all the information that she had. Now, I will say that Tyler Jett has an excellent article. It's a 5-part series on Death of a Hospital. And if you really want to see, I think he just worked months on that.
I was going to say,
excellent.
It makes my stomach hurt.
It's amazing.
To think about knowing what kind of time it took to do those interviews and to compile all those facts and figures and to get all those different stories and to try to come up with a comprehensive telling of that story.
And he did it,
without, really setting somebody on fire.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure there are people who are not happy with context and things, but that was a tremendous undertaking.
It's excellent, and it came out, I think it started Monday and finishes up
Yes.
now. Now, I will tell you this just as a side note. My mother, Willeen Weiss, she was the second employee to the hospital when it was originally started. She worked with Oscar Hilliard in 1953 when the hospital started up, and they were responsible for basically doing everything. They brought the doctors in. They used to work out of the old barracks room, and she would tell me stories that are just they're really entertaining. I'm trying to get her to put them on Facebook because they talk about the guy that wanted to come to the hospital. They were encouraging patients to come because they just had no one. It had just started, and he wanted to know if he could bring his own bed. And they said, sure,
Wow.
just bring it with you. And they hauled his bed up there
Things were
to get a
different.
patient. Things were very
Things
different.
were very different back then.
But, I tell you, when you think about this, there are 3,143 counties in this United States. Out of all of those,
8.
it's board commissioners. For all of those, 99.7% is what it works out to. 8 choose to have a sole commissioner. They're all in Georgia, and 7 of those are in North Georgia. And that's 0.03%. You've got to think that these people, the 99.7% of the people,
either
they
been
probably know what's going on
completely
there.
bamboozled, or they're on the good side of the way it works.
Boy, I tell you, that makes a big difference too.
I mean, there's no doubt. I think she shot me straight when she came in there. She goes, "It's just easier. It's just so much easier." I mean, I talk to the people involved. I make a call. I don't have to go out and politic. It's not, I'm not always fundraising and doing all this crazy stuff, and I understand that. George Bush made the now infamous comment about, dictatorships are fine as long as I'm the dictator.
That's right.
And if you're a benevolent dictator, yay for you. But that's the way the neighborhood saw Al Capone too. I'm not trying to draw that comparison, but I mean, just
Boss hog.
It all depends on how you're looking at it.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, do that. See if you can find a calculator somewhere on your phone or something and do that math real quick.
80 million divided by, I've got the number here. 68,066.
68,066.
That's the
goes into 80
population
million.
estimate.
How many times? So each individual man, woman, and child that counts as a resident of that county owes how much money? I just think that'd be an interesting thing to know.
This is a great quote. I pulled several quotes because actually I'm going to give the pros and cons. I mean, people have points for Board of Commissioners, they have points for sole commissioner. I happen to want a board, but I feel it's only fair. I want to give information. I want people to make up their minds because my whole point on this is I want to see this on the ballot where it can be voted on. I think people have the right, whether they want a sole commissioner or a board of commissioners, they should have the right to vote on that. It should be on the ballot. Now listen, this quote, "The worst type of government in the world is efficient government. Unless freedom is a frivolity to sacrifice on the altar of saving a couple of bucks or wasting a minute or two."
Who said that?
I didn't write their name down,
It's a darn
unfortunately.
good quote,
It's a great quote, though, isn't it?
You know what? Thomas Jefferson. We always give Thomas Jefferson credit for all great quotes.
Yeah.
Eventually, even if they're just talking about, Y2K. So we'll just say Thomas Jefferson said it. Now, I've got to go to a commercial break real quick. Fred the show. Jill Weiss is my guest. Jill's been in here before. She's a very active, citizen out there. She pays attention. She's not really here affiliated with anybody in particular other than the 2,045 people who signed the petition.
That's right.
To get this on the ballot.
That's right. That was ignored, I might add, by the state legislators.
I do. When we come back from the commercial break, we'll have a number that probably will shock you, and then I'm going to ask about a non-binding referendum and what will that do. 1022, Fred the Show. 267-1023, 1-888-779-TALK, long distance toll free. And again, now one of the people who wants to occupy that seat of power will be in on Monday at 10 o'clock. And I hate to break it to you, anybody else running for that post, we do not do interviews on Election Day, which means that the onus is on you to get your equal time. That was set up yesterday afternoon after I was off the air, and I'll try to keep it limited. I don't think this necessarily is leaning all that much against anybody or for anybody.
Oh, it's not at all.
So I'm just saying, however much time Shannon spends in here, equal time will come your way, but you better ask for it. You won't get it on Tuesday. That's the rule. 1023, Fred the Show. Thank you for listening to Being Fredhead. 28, Rock Creek, big sale, the biggest sale of the year. Their warehouse sale tomorrow only. One location. Rock Creek's got lots of locations. The only one where the warehouse sale is taking place is the Rock Creek Riverside store right there on Riverside Drive across the Boathouse Restaurant. 70% off on all of their outdoor sportswear and outdoor wear, North Face, Marmot, Patagonia. 60% off on footwear, swimsuits, tents, sleeping bags, camping gear, last year's boats, paddling gear, kayaks, Dagger, Jackson, Bomber, Warner, all the big names, 50% off. Saturday only, tomorrow, 8 to 7, Rock Creek, Riverside, across the Boathouse Restaurant. If you want to get into paddling, now's the time. How many dollars, simoleons, does each individual? $80 million is what Walker County is in debt. Yes. Yes. $1,175. And if they need to cough it up right now. I think they need to cough it up right now.
Yeah, right.
So we can go ahead and take care of it. I don't know if y'all noticed the front page of the paper today. I said, here, this is the only stat you need to know about the economic situation in America today. Consumer confidence, throw it away. Stocks and bonds, who cares? Here's what you need to know. 2/3 of Americans, according to the AP poll, would struggle and likely fail to cover a $1,000 family crisis.
Oh, my.
So there you go.
That's terrible.
Walker Countyans, pay up. It's time.
That's terrible.
That's just $1,200.
And that's little bitty babies and,
yeah.
I mean, everybody.
That means some of you folks going to have to double up. I mean, take care of Grandma and little, Junior.
Goodness
so
gracious.
there you go.
Walker County, we need a change. And whoever comes in next, I mean, there will be a sole commissioner that will come in next. There's no way to get a board of commissioners done before the next election. And
today's website of the day is SaveWalkerCounty.com.
Oh, great.
SaveWalkerCounty.com.
Thank you. We have a lot of these statistics on there. And let me mention another great website while we're writing down websites. In addition to SaveWalkerCounty.com, WalkerCountyOpenRecords.com. WalkerCountyOpenRecords.com. It's a site started by an individual named Chase Thomas, who is a very civic-minded citizen, and he puts on this website records, financial audits, financial statements. He has so much information. The county code and ordinances, it's not available anywhere else. You can't get it on the Walker County website. So this citizen, at his own expense, has opened this website, WalkerCountyOpenRecords.com, where you can find all this information. And it's amazing to me that you can't go to Walker County's own website and look at the codes and ordinances, but you can't.
Sometimes I think that the websites end up just being a smoke and mirrors, pay no attention to the man behind the screen, sort of
boy, you got that right.
Or a gatekeeper. Go to the website. It's all on the website, and if you can figure out how to maneuver it. But all right, so the big question now is this one. A non-binding referendum, what does that really do?
What this is going to do is it is going to, if it's going to allow it, well, actually it's not going to allow anything. It's going to let the legislators know that people want to see this on the ballot. It's a straw vote. It is. It may lead to the matter being put on an official vote at some point in the future, but it's really backing up the people that signed a petition. There were over 2,000 that signed a petition, and the petition was sent in. It was by the Lafayette Underground. It was sent in to the legislators, the state representatives, and the senator, and they basically just ignored it. So this is just backing it up. If you can get this vote, as a binding referendum on the ballot, you could possibly set up a commission, a board of commissioners, in the next 4 years at 2020.
I can actually read. This is the open letter. The
Right.
undersigned to citizens and taxpayers of Walker County, Georgia. Just take me a second.
Yep.
Dear gentlemen, this was sent to Senators Jeff Mullis, Representative John Deffenbaugh, Steve Tarvin, and GOP leadership in Walker County.
Mailed and emailed.
Yeah, for the last 7 decades, Walker County has operated under sole commissioner government. The time has come to move beyond that antiquated system, but Walker County voters haven't been given an opportunity to choose for at least a generation. That's why we now appeal to you for legislation putting control of sole commissioner government in the hands of voters. During this year's legislative session, pass a resolution giving Walker County a vote to keep or drop this form of government. We're not asking you to take a personal position or change the system directly. Just let us vote for ourselves. Open the door for local vote. Frustration with the current commissioner has led many to seek a change in government, but this petition goes beyond the current occupant. Regardless of who holds the office, their political affiliation, we need to move into the future, settle it in the voting booth. I'm paraphrasing it, but I think I'm getting it right. No legal standard regarding the number or type of petition signatures needed to force a vote on this issue. State law places responsibility solely on you who represent us down in Atlanta. So 2,045 who signed, business owners, teachers, law enforcement, church leaders, all the rest, eagerly await your response. And I would say that you have to remember that in Atlanta, Georgia is Atlanta.
Yeah.
The only thing they concern themselves with is Atlanta.
But these state legislators, I mean, they are Dade County and Walker County. One, John Deffenbaugh, I think, covers both those areas. Mr. Tarvin covers Walker County, and then Senator Mullis. He's from Chickamauga. They ignored this. Mr. Tarvin, there's a video on SaveWalkerCounty.com, a segment where he actually said that he didn't get the email because he didn't have his email password and had to drive down to Atlanta to get it. Now, there's also a clip on there from Senator Mullis that says not one person came personally to him to talk about it, but I know this was mailed and emailed to him. And, you know, people, I want to again address both sides. If you want a sole commissioner, you should have the right to vote on that. If you want a board of commissioners, you should have the right to vote on that. It should be on the ballot. It should be where you can express yourself and exercise your constitutional right. But, I mean, it's not even on the ballot. So this is going to be a straw vote. It is going to be on the Democrat and the Republican primary ballot.
So it did get on there.
Yes.
So this is a show of hands, is what this is.
Exactly. It's just, and it will hopefully sway the legislators to see, look, people want this on the ballot. Please, just don't fight it. Just put it on there. And then if more people in Walker County want a sole commissioner, then so be it. If more people want a board of commissioners, then so be it. But the people, I think that they deserve the right to vote on it.
I'm gonna say something. I hope I'm not speaking out of school here. It's 10:36, and I feel like because that there will be undoubtedly people who believe this is politically charged, and then they'll want their equal time. I'll be happy to have people in, but Jill just said she didn't really have any strong feelings about it one way or the other. I guess I kind of picked up maybe even lukewarm support to a degree, maybe for Shannon, just because she knows him to a degree, but says, I hope he's the last one. One term, and that's it, because
whoever
it
gets
doesn't matter
there,
who it is,
right.
It's just not right.
Right, and it's going to take, there could be special elections, and this could get, the legislators actually could go and say, we want this, and put it up in front of the assembly and get it passed if they wanted to, but they don't want to. They don't want to buck the sole commissioner right now, and in doing so, they're really ignoring a part of their voting population that wants to be paid attention to.
Well, it'd be hard to imagine. There are minorities in Walker County, and I'm not saying that Miss High School cannot represent them. I've often argued that anybody ought to be able to represent anybody. I don't know who represents me and my points of
Exactly.
view and the way our government is set up.
Well,
but,
people are people,
and
regardless of color.
I'm a 55-year-old white male. I am the typical American majority, not for much longer. But nobody represents my points of view on social issues. But still, minority representation is almost. It's got to be nil, right?
Yeah.
If you just looked at it and here's the percentage of population, here's your percentage of leadership, none. Mm-hmm. It's always going to be none.
It is, and it seems to me that having a board, there are boards, the city of Lafayette, the city of Chickamauga, the city of Rossville, the city of Lookout Mountain, they all have, like city councils, they all have commissions. The mayor just doesn't go and carte blanche rule on what he's going to do without input. And I compare it, I break it down to the simplest level. You're married.
Yes.
All right, what would your wife do if you just went out and bought a house and didn't ask her opinion about it, just did it and came back and said, honey, this was much more efficient that I do this way. It was a lot faster and I didn't have to listen to any of your arguments. How long would you be in the doghouse, Jeff?
Well, it would depend on the house, and she would just be tickled that I actually bought something by myself. But I would say that.
But you're using her money.
Nobody. I was going to say, that would be.
It's not just your money.
No. There's no doghouse. There's no doghouse. I am in the outhouse on my way to the
poorhouse,
and then the dead people house.
Well,
so that's the way that would go.
I tell you, I want to throw out just a couple of facts. Walker County has had a sole commissioner in place since 1941. That's 75 years. And the seat was, or the commission, sole commission was created in 1940 on December 31st. The next person going in was a sole commissioner. And I thought this was interesting. Georgia has 159 counties. Of course, all of those except for 8 are boards of commission, have boards of commissioners.
And somebody, JR seemed surprised when I said this the other day. East of the Mississippi, Georgia is the largest state. And he said, really? I said, yeah. And I don't know when I learned that, but I did.
It's interesting.
And it also has more counties than any other state, with the exception of
Texas.
Texas.
That's right.
And there's a very interesting reason.
The reason that I saw in my research was that the county seat must be at least a day's wagon ride away from all the citizens.
So people could actually get there if
That's
something was
right.
happening that was
That's
important
right.
and they wanted to voice their opinion.
So if it was more than a wagon ride away, then
Then you
here
had to
pops up
redraw.
another county. So
Wow.
I was shocked to see that we're second.
When you see
in
in the
number of
mountainous
counties.
areas, they get a little bit tinier because days travel be a little bit more difficult.
Can you imagine what our forefathers had to go through?
No.
Oh,
I
my
often
goodness.
Try to. Now, all right. So you're asking people basically to get out and vote,
Yes.
even though it's non-binding. Vote for this resolution. It just says even if you like it, even if you like it. I guess you're taking a gamble. You've already got it going your way. But if you believe in the democratic process,
Exactly.
put it out there.
Exactly.
If you have faith in it, argue
Exactly.
for it and go.
And, vote, like I said, this is going to be on the Democrat primary ballot. It's going to be on the Republican primary ballot. There are 2 people running in the Republican Party for commissioner. There's Shannon Whitfield and Michael Pearden. B.B. Haskell is running as an independent. And there is another gentleman. He is trying to get signatures to be able, I think he has to have 2,000 signatures to be able to run as an independent. interestingly enough, the incumbent doesn't have to get those signatures. So his name is Perry Lamb, and he's trying to get those signatures right now, and I believe that they declare June 30th, I believe, is the date for them. But tomorrow, people just, I really think that this should be on the ballot. If people ought to be heard. And let's just, Mr. Tarvin and Mr. Devenbaugh and Mr. Mullis, Senator Mullis, if y'all are listening, you should not be making the people go through this to put this on the ballot. You shouldn't be making people go through a straw poll and then having to then come back. You got the petition last year, and you should read it. You probably still have it. I'm sure that it could be sent to you again if you'd like to see it, but you shouldn't make the citizens jump through these hoops.
I will say this in closing, and we'll wrap it up. Joe, I appreciate you coming in, and again, SaveWalkerCounty.com, the website of the day, and it just, people are so disenfranchised. They're leaving the voting population at an alarming rate. We are becoming not a meritocracy, not a democracy. I'm not even sure what we are anymore. I think we're on the verge of a strange, financially socialist country, but an oligarchy when it comes down to the people who are making the decisions. It's a very, very select few who have a tremendous amount of money, who can afford to get into office and then argue for the continuation of what is almost by definition a socialist form of government, when they're taking half or more than half of your income and then doling it back to you in different ways and shapes and forms. That's not the way we were supposed to be.
No, it's not.
So even if, let's face it, the Good Old Boy Network's great when you're a good old boy. And if it makes it easier for you to get things done, you're probably going to lean in that direction. But if you stand up on principle, sometimes that means taking a lick,
It really does. You got that one right.
Well,
and, as a person said, sole commissioner counties might have been fine in the 1800s when some counties didn't have enough residents to form a baseball team. But in this day, there's no good reason for 68,066 people to be represented by one person at the county level.
And it's hard to imagine how a county of such size could end up with that kind of debt. And again, I think it was the best intentions to do things. I know that the environmental fines, which were racking up, and I was talking about this a long time ago, you guys, and nobody was hearing me. Nobody was paying attention to me. Finally, the paper started actually covering it, and it was every day. It was like ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
$1,000
that could have been easily avoided.
It still
the
do.
The hospital thing, they, again, doing the right thing, best intentions, but gone awry. Look at where they are now, and I don't know how it's going to be salvaged. I don't know how it's going to be saved, and somebody's going to end up paying a whole bunch of money.
People need to read that article by Tyler Jett this week. It's amazing. It's eye-opening.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you,
swinging
Jeff.
by
We
10:45.
so appreciate
and
you.
And again, Shannon Whitfield, brother Sean, who you're more familiar with, going to be in here on Monday at 10. And anybody else who's running, you better get in touch with me or Brian Joyce in the afternoon. You might have to go on Sport Talk. I don't know. Monday, because Tuesday we don't do any candidates. 10:45.